Lovely. So good morning. Thanks so much for joining me this morning. I can hear the birds outside. It's such a nice sound. Hopefully they stick around for the day. Um, this week we're all about mobility and range. So I spoke a little bit about it on Tuesday if you were with me. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I could have a tendency to waffle on. It's one of my favorite areas within yoga. I guess a lot of people come to yoga classes kind of looking to develop flexibility, whereas I would be kind of more kind of leading you toward developing your mobility. So what's the difference? Flexibility is more about kind of lengthening the muscle fibers. So yeah, you can stretch a lot better, but that's not always a good thing. So mobility is more about controlling the range of motion of your joints through muscle engagement, both lengthening and contracting. So it's a lot of a safer way to move, and it's a lot more natural. So when you go into your stretches, and more so like your passive stretches, where you're just falling into a stretch, but you're not really engaging a muscle, you could have a tendency to overload the muscle or go past your actual natural range of motion, which is not really where we need to be, unless it's your game where like you're a gymnast or you're a dancer, or it's something that's very important to some activity that you do. But in general, for day to day, we just want that kind of natural range of motion so that we can kind of prevent ourselves from hurting ourselves, from injury, that we're strong. Now, if you have a limited range of motion, it's not always a bad thing. So usually if your range of motion is limited, it's actually that the body is working, okay? So your neuromuscular system notices when you've gone too far, and it's like, no, 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 we're not going there, okay? So it's kind of, I guess, reteaching your body to let it know that, no, it can go to your natural range. And that's where the things like yoga can come into that. So we're going to be very much focused on control of the muscle this morning. So the movement is slow. Think about moving at 1 mile per hour. Okay, so a slow controlled movement is a lot better than just flowing through something but not totally engaging in the movement. And then the other part is resistance. So adding resistance wherever you can. Now, in the case of yoga, it's mostly body resistance, but if you're working on your own to develop your mobility, the use of like resistant bands and weights is really good as well. So it starts to really strengthen the joints, and that's what gives us our longevity. Okay, that's me, waffle over. We're going to get started. So a nice, easy cross-legged. And again, I know it's not easy for all. So again, if you do find you're slumping into your lower back, get a little cushion, get towels, prop it up, get a big cushion. Just make sure you feel nice and strong in that lower back and nice connected to your core. We're going to open the palms to the ceiling. And again, notice if the knees are way up here, don't push them down, okay? We're trying to coax them down by using the muscles. So over time, hopefully we get that space by engaging those muscles. And then when you're ready, we're going to inhale the arms out, reaching up. Interlock fingers, press palms to ceiling, and then exhale, press the palms forward, really stretch between those shoulder blades. And we do that twice more. Nice big circular motion. Draw those arms right back by the ears, and then exhale, press forward and release, really rolling into that upper back. And we'll do that one more time. Maybe take the gaze up as we inhale, and then exhale, release it forward. Lovely. We're going to inhale, arms out, reach it up. Interlock fingers, press palms to ceiling. As we exhale, we're going to press those palms forward as far as we can go, really lengthening from the lower back. So try to keep the spine long, arms are reaching forward, and then rest those fingertips out in front. Now, it doesn't matter how far forward you're folding. We're going to inhale, draw the chest forward, draw the shoulders back. And as we exhale, see if we can creep those fingertips forward a little bit more, and use that connection on the ground with the fingertips to really drive yourself into the pose here. And then with this, we're going to press the finger pads into the ground and see if we can draw those sit bones back a little bit more. So you've got full control here. We're going to inhale again, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, see if we can hinge forward a little bit more. So again, this is nice. We're working into a nice active stretch. If we were making this passive, I think I mentioned on Tuesday, you could have somebody pressing on your lower back. You could have somebody pulling your arms. But again, where is the muscle engagement? So we want to have full control here. One more breath. And then gently tuck the chin in. We're going to slowly come back to center, and then uncross the legs, recross them the other way. A little bit of balance in the hips here, and then open the palms. We're going to inhale, arms out, reaching up. Interlock fingers, press palms to ceiling, and again, exhale, press those palms forward. Really reach as far forward as you can reach, and then rest those fingertips down. We're going to inhale, draw the chest forward, draw those shoulders back. And as we exhale, walk the fingertips forward a little bit more, creeping just a little bit more. And then using that connection, we're going to press the finger pads into the ground to see if we can draw those sit bones back a little bit more. Relax the head, relax the neck, feel that nice little bit of space between the shoulder blades. Again, continue to tuck that belly button in, so we're creating as much space to get into that fold as we can. One more breath here. And then gently tuck the chin in. We're going to walk it back to center. Lovely. From here, we're going to do a little bit into the neck, both actively and passively. So we're going to inhale that right arm up. We're going to bend the right elbow, drape the hand over the ear, and then we're going to draw that right ear toward the right shoulder. So be careful not to draw the shoulder toward the ear. Keep drawing that right shoulder down. Keeping the hand placed on the head, where you can either just draw that left shoulder away, or we might bend the left elbow, bring the back of the hand to rest on the lower back, or maybe to rest at the top crease of that right thigh. But again, just using that connection to get a little bit deeper into the left side of the neck. So in a way, this is passive. Now, we shouldn't be tugging on the head, but that extra weight of the hand is definitely bringing us a wee bit deeper. So to make it more active and you're in control, we're just going to take that hand off and see if we can draw that right ear a little bit closer to the right shoulder, just using our own muscles here. If that feels good, we're going to gently tuck the chin in toward the chest. And we're going to feel that stretch into the left, but more so now into the center of the neck. And again, every exhale, just allow yourself to fall a little bit more into that stretch. And again, only if it feels good, don't force it. And again, the nice way of bringing a stretch actively into the body is that we have more control over what's happening. And then slowly we're going to draw back to center, bring that left hand back. And then we're going to inhale, the left arm up, bend the left elbow, drape that hand across the head, and slowly bring that left ear toward the left shoulder. Again, we're not tugging, but just that nice extra guidance from that left hand, a little bit of weight. And then we might just draw the shoulder away from the ear using the shoulder itself, or we might bend that right elbow, bring the back of the hand to the lower back, or reach around to catch hold of the upper inner thigh. And again, just use that connection to get a little bit more into that neck. And again, we're going to remove that left hand, see if we can hold that stretch using our own muscles. So again, really all the stretching we do should involve some muscular contraction. And then we might gently tilt that chin into the chest, and we're going to feel it a little bit more toward the back of the neck here. And again, even just, taking slight movements, moving that chin side to side until you feel that nice little sweet spot. So you're really getting into that fascia. So we're working into the neck, but we're also getting a little bit into the upper back here. Nice one to do if we sit a lot, particularly at computers, or drive a lot. And again, for our athletes, really nice one for the cyclists. Lovely. We're going to slowly come back to center and just take a few little neck rolls side to side, nice and gentle, nothing too severe. Just kneading that out. Nice and slow. Lovely. And then back to center. We're going to lie down onto the mats here. Again, just make sure your tail is within reach. Working into the hips again to start with. We're going to knees bent, feet flat, press that lower back into the ground and try to keep that connection. We're going to hug the right knee in, extend that left foot fully out along the mat, press the way through the heel, draw the toes toward the face. Right hand stays in the shin, left hand onto the hip. And we're just going to start to draw some nice little circles into that right hip. Again, don't get caught up with what direction, we'll do both. So again, nice gentle movement, maybe bring those fingertips to rest on the right knee, making those circles a little bit larger. And then if that feels good, keeping that lower back pressed into the ground, we're going to take that right hand off the leg and draw those circles as large as we can. So we're looking for a smooth, controlled, circular movement, making those circles a little bit larger each time. Maybe drawing that right leg into the equation. So extending through the leg, draw the knee across the body into the chest, hip nice and wide. Try to keep that left hip grounded so we can feel that full expanse across the front of the pelvis. And then we're going to reverse those circles. So again, nice relaxed breath here. Just enjoy that mobility within the hip. And the more we do these little gentle mobilizers, the more we start to activate those muscle tissue around the joint. So they actually become more strengthening and not just working into that mobilization. So it's a kind of a combination then. And again, the slower the movement, the more we're having to engage those fibers. And then we're going to hug that right knee in. We're going to bend the left knee, bring the foot flat to the ground, and then we're going to rest that right ankle just above the left knee, coming into our figure four. Draw the right toe toward the right knee, press the right knee away from the body using that glute, using the hip muscles. And then from here, press the lower back into the ground. We're going to lift the left foot off the ground, shin parallel to the ceiling. And then we can either interlock the fingers behind the back of that left hamstring. If we can keep the chest open and keep that lower back engaged. If we feel a wee bit unstable here, we can reach for our towel, wrap it around the back of that hamstring, just as a little extension of the arms. As we inhale, we're going to walk the shoulder blades together, open into the heart. And as we exhale, see if we can work that left knee a little bit closer toward the face as we continue to work that right knee away from the body. So again, we're going a little passive here. So what I want you to do is, if you're using the towel, just loosen the grip. Or if you're using the hands, just again, loosen that grip with the fingers so that we're not actually holding that leg in place. So it helps get us into the pose, but now we're looking for a little bit of muscle contraction to keep that. So again, loosen the towel or let go of the grip, just a nice gentle hold here. Every inhale, thinking about lengthening the spine, opening the heart. Every exhale, see now if we can draw that left knee closer toward the face, but not using the hands, using the muscles. Keep working that right knee away. So you're going to feel a much stronger connection to those hip muscles here. And then we're going to interlock those fingers or wrap that towel. Again, allow the back of the leg rest into the hands. We're going to inhale, point the left foot up toward the ceiling and really stretch into the front of the ankle. And as we exhale, draw the toes toward the face. So just taking a few little ankle mobilizers here with your breath. Again, notice if you're stretching those shoulders into your chest, again, reconnect them, walk the shoulder blades together. And then we're going to make a few nice big circles to the right with that left ankle. And again, we're looking for a smooth, controlled, circular movement, trying to get rid of any of those angular points of resistance. And again, the bigger these circles are, the more you're going to start feeling the muscles activate in the full part of your lower leg. So it's a really nice way of strengthening into those ankle stabilizers, those lower leg muscles. And then we're going to reverse those circles. And again, just notice how it feels. Notice any weird sensations. Again, any resistances to the movement. So ideally, we are looking for full circular, smooth movement. And even just noticing where those little tweaks are can be a really nice indicator of what's happening of the rest of the body, maybe into the hips. And the more you do these, you're going to feel the muscles fatigue. So you're definitely strengthening here without having to go very far. Ah, lovely. And then we're going to rest that left foot down. We're going to bring that right foot to meet it. We're going to do the same on the other side. So hug that left knee in, rest the left ankle just above the right knee into our figure four. Again, drawing the toe toward the knee, pressing the left knee away from the body. Lower back stays on the ground. We're going to inhale, right foot off the ground. And again, either interlocking hands or towel around the back of that right hamstring. As we inhale, walk the shoulder blades together, open the heart. As we exhale, draw that right knee toward the face as we continue to work that left knee away from the body. Again, see if we can loosen that grip on the back of that right leg. So again, we can just gently hold the leg if we don't know what to do with those hands. But again, we don't want to allow the weight fall into the hands or tail here. So we're looking for muscular contraction. So again, we're inhaling, lengthening, opening a little bit more space into the heart. And as we exhale, using our own muscles, we're going to draw that right knee a little bit closer toward the face. So again, a lot stronger, not as relaxing, definitely not as relaxing, these active poses. And then from here, we might rest the back of the leg back into the hands or tail. We're going to inhale, point the right foot up toward the ceiling, stretching into the front of the foot. And as we exhale, draw those toes toward the face. So again, continue with your own breath, really exaggerating the movement. Again, noticing, is it easier to flex? Is it easier to point? And again, depending on how we hold ourselves, what activities we do, some people might find one movement easier than the other, but what we're looking for is balance. So eventually both movements are easy. We're going to make a few nice big circles to the right. And again, already noticing, does it feel much different to the other side? Is it easier? Is it a lot more restricted? So those feet, those ankles, those lower legs can tell us a lot about what's happening in the rest of the body, but we need to listen to them. And sometimes it is just slowing down the movement totally to notice what those little imbalances are. And then we're going to reverse those circles. Again, nice big circles, smooth movement. And the bigger those movements are, the more we're going to feel it into our lower leg muscles, right up to the knee. We're actually stretching and strengthening as we go through these circles. Lovely. We're going to rest that right foot down. Place the left foot back down to meet it. We're going to go a little bit into the hamstrings again. So we did this on Tuesday, if you're with me. We're going to hug the right knee in, extend fully out through the left foot. And then we're going to get our towel. Have it nice and broad, so a nice broad surface. We're going to wrap it around the back of that hamstring. So the strap is grand here, but it just puts a little bit more pressure on that larger muscle, which we don't really need in this motion. So again, from here, we're going to press the hamstring away until that right knee is just stacked over the right hip. So we've got nice 90-degree angles at the hip, the knee, and the ankle. And then from here, we're going to extend that right foot up toward the ceiling, pressing the sole of the foot toward the ceiling, the toes toward the face. And already here, we're working into a hamstring stretch, okay? But it's a nice controlled stretch. So we've got full control of this movement. Ideally with the hamstring, we're looking for about an 80 to 90-degree lift there with the leg. If it doesn't feel good, if that stretch feels anywhere other than the actual belly of the muscle, we can just drop the leg slightly, or we can bring a little bend into the knee and then work into it. So with a lot of people, where you feel tightness in the body, it's often that it's over lengthened, and there's a few areas in particular that happen. So hamstring is definitely one, lower back is another, and between the shoulders is another. Okay, so what feels like tightness is often over lengthened tissue. And if we start working into non-engaged stretch movements, we're actually going to over lengthen it even more and potentially injure ourselves. Okay, so this is a lovely safe way. If you're not too sure, is it a tight muscle or is it over lengthened? This is a nice way of working into it. So we're going to work a little bit of active resistance here. So we're inhaling here. As we exhale, we're going to gently lower the leg toward the ground. But as we do, we're pulling the towel against the leg to kind of resist that movement. So it's a really strong movement here. And then inhale back to center. As we inhale, we're pressing the muscle into the towel as we draw the towel toward us. So again, resisting that movement. Exhale, lower. Continue with your own breath. So again, all the time, we're trying to stop that movement. Okay, so we're stretching with the motion, but we're using a full muscle contraction. So a lot safer, a lot more controlled. And again, why do those hamstrings become over lengthened? A lot of the time, it's tightness in the hips, weakness in the core. And then you start to develop a slight little tilt in the pelvis, in the hip structure, and that's actually pulling on the hamstrings. So if you think of it, if you pull an elastic band that's already stretched, it's going to break, okay? Even though the elastic band will feel tight, it's actually pulled to its extreme. So that's not where we want to be, not with those hamstrings. Last one, back up to center, wherever we're at, and then we're going to bend the right knee in. We're going to wrap the towel around the ball of the right foot this time. And again, if you do have particularly tight over lengthened hamstrings, be careful with this one. Keep a little bend in the knee if it feels too much. We're going to press the sole of the foot up toward the ceiling. And again, getting into a more traditional hamstring stretch here. So again, that stretch is only in the belly of the muscle, not underneath the knee, not up near the sit bone. We're pressing the heel toward the ceiling. If we want to bring it a little bit outside the hamstring and more into the lower leg, we can drop that heel a little bit and just work into that calf muscle, into the Achilles, into the arch of the foot. Or again, we can bring a little bend into that right knee and gently press the heel away. So if we're feeling it near the joints, it means that we're stretching our tendons, and that's a pretty good indicator that the muscle has already been over lengthened. Okay, so that's where I'd be saying back off. And where you're looking at then is you want to actually strengthen the muscles. So you should be developing little strengtheners for those hamstrings as opposed to deep stretches. Okay, we're going to bring the grip into the right hand. Extend left arm out in line with the shoulder, palm down, and then slowly exhale that right foot out to the right as far as is comfortable. Press away through the heel, draw the toes toward the face. Try to keep the foot up in line with the hips, so it's not about it touching the ground here. If you find the left side of the body is coming off the mat, you can always place the left hand on the hip, maybe take a little look over that left shoulder. And now the real challenge here, so we're working quite passively here, the real challenge is to loosen the grip and see if we can maintain that opening of the hip using that hip muscle. Hold for 2 and 1. Not very easy. We're going to bring that right leg back to center, hug the right knee in, give it a nice little squeeze, maybe make a few little gentle circles into that right hip to let it go. Lovely. Resting the right foot down, maybe fully extending it. We're going to bring that left knee in toward the chest, give it a nice little squeeze. And then we're going to wrap the towel around the back of that left hamstring. Same deal, we're going to press the leg out until that left knee is stacked over the left hip. Nice 90-degree angles on all those leg joints. And then we're going to inhale, press the sole of the foot up toward the ceiling as we extend through the leg, draw the toes toward the face. So again, feeling that, you will feel this in the lower leg as well as the hamstring. And again, only into the belly of the hamstring. We're going to inhale at center. As we exhale, gently lower that left leg, but we're resisting the movement. So we're gently pulling on that tail to resist that downward movement. Inhale back up. Again, we're pressing the hamstring into the tail as we draw the tail toward us. And then exhale, gently lower. Continue with your own breath. Try to keep that right hip grounded on the mat. So you can kind of cheat in your hamstring stretches. That right hip might lift up and you might get a little bit more motion. But again, you're not actually, that's more a bone thing. So you're moving your bones to get that extra stretch, whereas we want to work into our muscles here. And again, in some cases, we'll have, everybody will have their anatomical limit, and that's more to do with the structure of their body. So, you know, it's very important when we're working into our muscles and joints not to get competitive. Okay, so we do have our limits. We have our anatomical, which you just cannot break. That's bone, that's structure that's already there. And then we have our elastic limit. And again, that's not really where we want to be. We don't really want to reach that. We definitely don't want to go beyond it. And that's the body's safety mechanism. So it's not a bad thing again. And then slowly back to center. We're going to bend the left knee in. We're going to wrap the tail around the ball of that left foot. Press the sole of the foot up toward the ceiling. Draw the toes toward the face. Press the heel away. And again, we're looking for a little stretch into the lower leg and into the belly of that left hamstring. Again, if it's too intense, drop the heel out, drop that leg, take a little bend to the knee. And just take a couple of breaths here. Nice and relaxed. If the legs start shaking, that's a definite contraction in the muscles, so just back off a little bit. And then we're going to bring the grip into the left hand, extend right arm out in line with the shoulder, and slowly exhale that left foot out to the left. Taking the gaze over the right fingertips, again pressing the left heel away, draw the toes toward the face, feeling that nice little release into the left hip flexor, right up the inner thigh. So again, I'm resting my foot here, so it's very passive. If you're going into a passive stretch and you want to just relax there, it's nice actually to use like a table or a chair or a couch, and it'll actually stop the leg from dropping out too much. Okay, so you're less likely to overstretch. So definitely use those props if you're just looking for a nice relaxing yoga session where you can just switch the head off and just really relax the body. But again, using props like that where they're already in place, so you're not going to overstretch it, but you're still going to get that nice release. Again, loosen the grip for just one more breath. Hold it in space. Feel those glutes activate. And then gently inhale it back to center. Hug the left knee in. We're going to drop the tail off to the side. Hug both knees into the chest. So we're going to press the shins into the hands as we inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to draw both knees outside the line of the body. See if we can really touch that lower back onto the ground. So we're inhaling, pressing shins into hands, and as we exhale, draw those hips a little bit wider. Again, try not to force them open, so the weight of the hands is fine. Those hands are in the shin more so we can activate as we inhale, press the shins into the hands. And as we exhale again, see if we can activate those hip muscles to get a wee bit more space into those hip flexors. One more breath. And then gently draw those knees back into the chest. We're going to crisscross the ankles. Options here to come straight up to seat, whatever way feels good to you, nice and slowly. Otherwise, we can rock and roll forward and back along the mat, using that motion to massage the full length of the spine into the ground. So again, control the movement. And when you've rocked and rolled enough, we're going to meet up in seat. Coming on to hands and knees into our tabletop. So hands come forward, knees come back. And we're going to stack those shoulders over the elbows, over the wrists. Elbow creases face forward. See if you can really spread those fingers nice and wide. We're going to press the ground away, see if we can activate those shoulders. Knees are about hip width distance apart and hips are over knees. Untuck the toes or tuck the toes if the knees feel cranky. If we feel the belly's dropped and we're kind of dumping into that lower back, we want to tuck that belly button right up into the lower back. So feel the tummy muscles engage and feel that lower back release. And then we're going to go through a few little cat-cow curls. So we're going to inhale, draw the chest forward, take the gaze up as we arch through the spine. Exhale, press into the ground, curl through the spine, take the gaze back to the belly. Inhale, gaze goes forward and up, arching the spine. Exhale, press into the ground, curl through the spine, really tuck that chin to the chest. Continue with your own breath. Little gentle bend into the elbows here. And just gently mobilizing the full length of the spine. So again, with our spine, we want strength, we want mobility, we want stability. So there's a big thing with stability and rigidity. So stability is strong and it allows us to move with the flow. So it's kind of a combination of strength and mobility. Whereas if we just have rigidity, so we might be really strong, but if we don't have the mobility, when something happens, our body is so kind of tight and rigid that that's where we're going to crack, we're going to break, we're going to hurt ourselves. So we want strength, but we also want to combine that with mobility so that we can kind of sway with the punches, go with the flow. And again, just really enjoy that movement throughout the body. The more of these wave-like motions we do, the more we're going to get into the rest of the body. And again, there's no point in us working on hip mobility, neck mobility, where you have a really rigid spine, because everything's going to come back to the core. And then we're going to meet back at center in our tabletop. Just make sure you have a little bit of room out front to extend your arms. We're going to keep that left hand grounded, just keep the left wrist underneath the shoulder so we're not dumping into the actual wrist. Extend right arm out, press back through the left foot. Again, really nice and strong with that left foot, draw the toes toward the face. Notice if we're dumping into the spine, tuck that belly button in and then maybe re-engage that left glute to get the leg to lift. Gaze is relaxed, so we're just looking down toward the ground, nice little extension of the spine of the neck. And then we're going to inhale, draw right elbow, left knee into touch, nice and slow. Exhale, extend it out. Lift that back foot. Inhale it in. Exhale, extend it out. Nice and slow. Lift the leg. Inhale it in. Exhale, extend. Continue with your own breath. Again, notice if you started to dump into that left wrist, even mid-movement, shift the wrist back until you feel no pressure. So we just want to focus on our core control here. If you want to bring the hamstrings strengthening into this, as you extend that leg back, just bend the left knee and press the sole of the foot toward the ceiling within that same movement. So again, working on our active range of motion and our active stretching is a lot more familiar with our day-to-day movements. So when you think of your passive stretching, there's very few times in our day, I hope, that we have to go into a full split. Okay, so we're kind of looking for more day-to-day movements when we work actively. Last one, wherever you're at. And then meeting back in center. Same thing on the other side, that right hand stays grounded, wrist underneath the shoulder. We're going to extend those left fingertips out, press back through the right foot. I want you to imagine somebody's pulling you by the fingertips and pulling you by the heel. Okay, so it's a really lengthened pose within the body. We're going to inhale, bend left elbow, right knee into touch. Exhale, extend it out. Lift that back leg. Inhale it in. Feel the tummy muscles contract. Exhale, extend it out. Continue with your own breath. Try not to dump into that right shoulder, so keep pressing the ground away. Keep that right arm nice and strong. Slow, controlled range. So we're not relying on that pendulum effect of the body. Slower the better. Again, if you want to bring the hamstring into it, as we extend that right leg back, we might bend the right knee, press the sole of the foot toward the ceiling. Again, your choice. Last one. And then back to center. From here, we're going to swivel on the left knee. We're going to turn to the right and we're going to extend that right leg behind us so that the outer blade of the foot is parallel to the back of the room. Coming up onto the fingertips, maybe even a block until we can press those hips forward. So right hand stays in the hip. We're going to press the hips forward. Sometimes if we're too close to the ground, we start to collapse in. So if you need to come up onto the fingers or up onto a block or a book, press in the hips, drawing that right shoulder back, and then maybe bringing that left hand back. We're going to inhale right arm up toward the ceiling, and as we exhale, extend that right arm overhead. Again, imagine somebody's pulling you at the fingertips and grounding that outer blade of the foot into the mat. So feel that lovely extension along the right side of the body. Notice if you've started to reach out to your right, I want you to draw that right shoulder back. See if you can bring the arm right back at the ear. Maybe take the gaze up. So again, just enjoy that stretch for one more breath. And then inhale, draw right knee, right elbow in. Exhale, extend it out. Hover the right foot off the ground. Inhale it in, slow and controlled. Exhale, extend it out. Continue with your own breath. Again, if you want to challenge the balance, you might follow the middle finger on that right hand with the gaze. So you're changing your point of focus. Again, if that's too much, just take the gaze to the ground. Find a little bit of stability here. So again, we're strengthening, we're stretching, we're moving the body. And just enjoy that connection. So they talk about mindful movement. So the slower, the better. Touching in with every little bit of tissue within the body. Last one. Wherever we're at, we're going to drop that right foot down, give one last little stretch into the side of the body, and then we're going to bring that right hand back to meet left, swivel on the left knee, stay on the ball of the right foot, gently press away through that right heel, let's stretch into the back of the leg for 3, for 2, and 1. Right knee comes to meet left, same thing on the other side, we're going to swivel on that right knee, turning to the left side of the room, extending that left leg back. Outer blade of the foot parallel to the edge of the room. And again, we might come up onto the fingertips or block to start with. Left hand comes to the hip. We're going to press those hips forward, so pressing them to the left side of the room. Draw that left shoulder back. So feel that lovely expanse into the front of the body. Maybe come down onto the hand, but only if you can maintain that openness, otherwise stay on the fingertips. We're going to inhale left arm up. And as we exhale, extend that left arm overhead. Again, really drawing that arm back in line with the ear. So we're not reaching out to the left, we're opening the heart, engaging that left shoulder muscle. Maybe take the gaze up toward the fingertips. Again, imagining somebody holding the outer blade of your left foot, somebody pulling those left fingertips for 3. Stretch for 2. And 1. Inhale, left elbow, left knee into touch. Exhale, extend it out. Hover the left foot off the ground if you can. Continue with your own breath. Again, knee and elbow don't actually have to touch, just even drawing them in that general direction. Now we're looking for smooth movement. So we're trying to get rid of any shakes, any instabilities. So nice and strong, you're in control. Again, if you want that moving point of focus, gaze is fixed on that middle finger on the left hand as we work through the movement. Nearly there, last one. Rest the foot down, keep that arm extended. One last big stretch through the body. And then rest that left hand back to meet right. Swivel on the knees, stay on the ball of that left foot, gently press the heel away for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently bring that left knee back to meet right. Bring both hands forward of us. We're going to tuck the toes under. Knees are about hip width distance apart. We're going to sit back toward the heels. Feel that lovely release into the arches of the feet. Maybe wiggle through the toes a little bit. Relax the head and neck here. Come up onto the finger pads and just get a little extra space between those shoulder blades. Every exhale, just release the head a little bit closer toward the ground until we feel that right up into the neck, right up into the upper traps. And then flatten out through the hands. We're going to press the finger pads and knuckles into the ground, gently hover the knees off the ground. As we inhale, lift the hips high toward the ceiling. And as we exhale, draw those heels down toward the ground. So again, into our downward dog. Feet are about hip width distance or a little bit wider apart. We're pressing the hands, mostly the finger pads and knuckles into the ground. Draw the chest toward the ground. Gaze is back toward the knees, maybe toward the belly. So try not to look forward or we're not going to get that space in between the shoulders. Lift the hips a little bit higher and then lower those heels. And then we're just going to gently paddle out the feet. So let opposite heels melt toward the ground. And again, only as far as feels good. Feel that nice release. As we walk it out, as we stretch into the backs of the legs, we want to try to engage those muscles in the front of the legs. So engage those quads to get a nice little control space into the hamstrings. Looking forward between the hands, we're going to gently walk our way to the front of the mat, nice and slowly. Coming into a nice wide-legged forward fold, a little bend to the knees here. Relax the head, relax the neck, relax the arms, the fingertips, everything just falls toward the ground. Feel that nice release in the lower back. And then we're going to gently tuck the chin into the chest and slowly rise away, all the way up to stand. Head comes up last. Lovely. Take a little drink here if you need. Again, we spent a little bit of time longer in our mobilization classes on the mat, but hopefully you're going to benefit from that mobilization now in our little flow sequence. So when you're ready, we're going to meet at the front of the mat. Feet nicely grounded, about hip width distance apart, and again, really feeling all corners of the feet into the mat. So spread through the toes, draw the toes and heels toward each other, feel the arches engage, and then spread those toes out again. So really rooting our foundations. We're going to bring the hands to heart, press the palms together, draw the chest forward, draw the shoulders back. Feel that strength in the core. And when you're ready, we're going to inhale, arms out, reaching up, palms together. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, gaze forward, hands to shins, nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Stepping right foot back to lunge. Coming up onto the fingertips here. Keep the left knee over the left ankle. We're going to inhale, draw the chest forward, draw the shoulder blades back. And as we exhale, gently sink those hips a little bit further toward the ground. So we're inhaling, lengthening the spine, press back through the right heel. As we exhale, allow that space happen in the hips. One more breath here. And then gently release the right knee down onto the ground. We're going to inhale both arms out, but we're just going to keep them out in a nice little kind of aeroplane arms. And then see if we can engage the tummy muscles to lift the belly off the legs, but maintain that hold for 2 and 1. From here, we're going to lift the belly fully off the legs, bring the arms together overhead, palms together, and then exhale, hands to heart. We're going to interlock the fingers, place those hands just above the left knee. Again, pressing the hands into the leg, we're going to draw the chest forward, draw the shoulders back. See if we can tuck that belly button toward the back of the spine so we're not back bending here. Nice and strong, nice and stable. Inhale, lengthen. As we exhale, gently sink those hips a little bit closer toward the ground. So we're inhaling, activating, pressing the hands into the leg. Exhale, gently lower. One more breath here. Inhale, lengthen, nice and strong. Exhale, lower. We're going to keep that right hand on the leg. Inhale, left arm up. As we exhale, twist as deeply as we can to the left. Extend that left arm back, and then maybe rest that left hand on the back leg. So we can use that connection of the right hand on the outer left thigh, left hand on the outer right thigh to draw ourselves a little bit deeper into the twist. But then when you get into that twist, I want you to loosen that grip. Maybe you can take the hands away and see if you can hold that twist using the muscle engagement as opposed to just pressing our way into it. Gaze is over the left shoulder for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale back to center, nice and slowly, bringing both hands either side of the left foot, coming off the right knee, pressing back through the heel. We're going to step the left foot back to meet right into our plank. Nice strong plank, shoulders over elbows over wrists. Elbow creases face forward. Come to the knees if you need to, but keep the core strong, spine long. Otherwise, off the knees, we've a nice straight line from the base of the neck all the way through the heels. For 3, press the ground away. For 2, and 1. Exhale, knees, chest chin to the ground. Roll the heart forward, untuck the toes. Press the feet into the ground, draw the shoulders back, lift the chest forward. See if we can hover the fingertips off the ground and maintain that space by engaging the lower back and those glutes. For 3, for 2, and 1. Exhale, release the hands, tuck the toes under, press the ground away, lift the hips, downward dog, walk it out. Coming to stillness here, we're going to inhale the right leg up, looking forward, stepping right foot into lunge, coming high on the fingertips. We're going to inhale here. As we exhale, bring those hands back in line with that left leg. See if we can press back through the heel. If you need to come to the left knee, by all means do. Then we're going to see if we can lift that belly off the leg. So we're using core contraction here, pressing those shoulders away from the ears. Hold it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Bringing both hands either side of the right foot. We're going to gently step that left foot up to meet right, and then exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center. Hands extended up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, gaze forward, hands to shins, nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Stepping left foot back to lunge this time, coming onto the fingertips. Again, right knee is over the ankle and not tracking out in front. We're going to inhale here, lengthen, draw those shoulders back, press the chest forward. As we exhale, gently sink those hips a little bit closer toward the ground. Again, if you need to come onto the left knee, listen to the body. It's going to be your best teacher here. 1 more breath. Gently release the left knee now. We're going to inhale those arms nice and wide into our airplane. And again, see if we can lift the belly off the leg and hold it here in space. For 2, and 1. Inhale, lift the belly totally. We're going to extend those arms up overhead, palms together. Exhale, hands to heart. We're going to interlock the fingers, placing those hands just above the right knee. Inhale, press the hands into that leg as we draw the shoulders back, press the chest forward. And again, see if we can tuck that belly button back. So very easy to kind of fall into the lower back here. I want you to really try to protect that lower back, engage those tummy muscles. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen into those hips. Inhale, lengthen, pressing the hand into the leg. Exhale, gently lower. 1 more breath here. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, release. We're going to keep the left hand where it's at. Inhale, right arm up. As we exhale, twist as deeply as we can to the right. Extending back through that right arm, maybe placing it onto the back of the leg. Using that connection, left hand on the outer right thigh, right hand on the outer left thigh to bring ourselves a little bit deeper into the twist. And then see if we can take those hands off or just loosen the grip and maintain that twist using the muscles. Gaze goes over the right shoulder for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale, slowly back to center. Both hands frame the right foot, gently coming off the left knee.
Step the right foot back to meet left into our plank. Nice strong plank. Notice where those hips are at. Have they dropped? Has the bum popped up into the air? We want to maintain that nice long spine. Again, if we're on our knees, long spine from the neck to the knees. If we're off, from the neck to the heels. For 3, press the ground away. For 2 and 1. Exhale, knees, chest chin to the ground, elbows tucked in. Roll the heart forward, untuck the toes, press the feet into the ground, draw the shoulders back. Again, see if we can hover those hands off the ground and maintain that lift in the chest. For 3. Don't forget to breathe. For 2 and 1. Rest the hands, tuck the toes, press the ground away, lift the hips. Walk it out, downward dog. Nice and easy. Notice where the breath is at. Notice if you've been holding it. Notice if it's caught up in the chest. Really try to bring that breath deep into the belly as we inhale through the nose. And as you exhale, a nice slow, controlled exhale through the nose. And at the very end of the breath, you're trying to squeeze every last little bit of air out of the body using the core. Coming to stillness, we're going to inhale the left leg up, looking forward, stepping that left foot into lunge with control. Both fingertips frame that left foot. We're going to inhale here. As we exhale, bring those hands back in line with that right foot. Press them back through the heel, draw the shoulders forward, draw those arms back, and then see if we can lift the belly off the legs using that core contraction. We're going to find those muscles in the left leg really firing here. Hold for 3, but not the breath. For 2 and 1. Bring both hands back to frame that left foot. Really gently bring that right foot up to meet left and exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up to center. Hands extended up. Exhale, hands to heart. Lovely. We're going to bring the hands to the hips here. We're going to step that right foot behind us, foot parallel to the back of the mat, and then we're going to bring that left foot parallel to it. So we're facing the right side of our room. And then from here, we're going to splay both feet out at about 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock on the clock. So nice little relaxed stance here. Feel that core engagement. So again, notice if you're jumping into your lower back, at this stage, I want you to tuck that belly button in, press back through the lower back, and you're going to feel a little bit more space into the front of the hips here. We're going to inhale, arms out, reaching up, palms together. As we exhale, we're going to bend into those knees and bring the hands to heart as we gently lower into our sumo squat. Inhale, rise, open, take the gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart as we lower into our squat. Continue with your own breath. You're in full control of this movement. So again, just go as deep as feels good to you. The little splay of the feet just allows us focus on the hips. We're not getting too caught up with those legs. But again, the slower we move in and out of this movement, we're going to be activating both our quads and our hamstrings. So again, a nice little movement, but again, no point in going fast through it, not giving those muscles time to really switch on. Again, keep drawing the shoulders away from the ears, getting a little bit lower only if it feels good. Last one, wherever we're at, we're going to meet in our squat. Again, not too deep, just a nice gentle squat. And then we're going to place both hands onto our thighs, about mid-thigh here. Draw the shoulders forward, draw the shoulders back and the chest forward. And then we're going to bring that left shoulder forward. Take a look over the right shoulder, little twist. Inhale back to center. Exhale, bring the right shoulder forward. Take a little look over the left shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the left. Continue a few more either side with your own breath. And again, just gently wringing it out. You're going to really feel those leg muscles crying here. If you need to back off the squat a little bit, listen to your body. Keep drawing those inner thighs together. Last one, both sides. Lovely. And then from here, just gently coming out of our squat, nice and easy. We're going to bring the hands to hips. Inhale, lengthen. As we exhale, press the chest forward, press back through the hips as we slowly hinge forward. So try to keep the spine nice and long for as long as we can go. And when we can't go any further, just allow the arms and head to relax here. So again, we're just looking for a nice release. We're not forcing it. Weight is back into the hips and heels, so we should be able to wiggle the toes freely. Feel a little bit of length into the backs of the legs. But I want you to focus here more so on just releasing that lower back. Even walking those fingertips out in front a little bit and pressing the ground away. So we're keeping that length for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently tuck the chin in. We're going to slowly rise our way back up to center. Turning that left foot to the front of the mat. We're going to bend into the left knee. And outer blade of the right foot parallel to the back of the mat. We're coming into our warrior 2. So again, that left knee is in line with the middle toe in the left foot. If it's tracking into the right, it might be more a wee bit tight here. So I want you to engage that left glute to maintain that space and keep that left knee nice and protected. And a little bit deeper if it feels good. We're looking for the leg to be almost parallel to the ceiling and floor here. We're going to extend both arms out in line with the shoulders, palms down. Again, engage those tummy muscles, draw those shoulder blades back. We're going to inhale, lengthen through the front leg, bring the arms together overhead, gaze goes up. Exhale, bend into the left knee, warrior lunge. Inhale, lengthen and rise. Exhale, lower and lunge. Again, continue with your own breath. If you want to challenge the balance, we're following that middle finger on the left hand as we work through the movement, a changing point of focus. Otherwise, relax your gaze wherever feels good, that you feel nice and stable, nice and controlled. Getting a little bit lower with each lunge, again, only if it feels good. So again, I guess the real test of mobility as opposed to flexibility, and I think I've used this one before, where you have somebody who can go into the splits quite easily, but they need help to get out of it. Okay, so they're hyper flexible, but they don't have that strength. So with mobility, we both have the ability to get into the stretch, but also the strength to come out of it using our own muscles. So it stops you from going too far. So again, it's like a car that can move at maybe 100 miles per hour, but its brakes stop working at 60 miles per hour. So that's that person with the hypermobility. So when you think they're going that extra 40 miles per hour, totally out of control. So somebody's going to get hurt. Lovely. We're going to meet back in our warrior. We're going to rest that right hand on the back leg. Inhale, left arm up, flip the palm, and then exhale. Just reach back through the left fingertips. Again, keep that bend in the left knee if we can. Keep the core engaged. Maybe take the gaze over the shoulder up toward the fingertips for 3, for 2, and 1. Cartwheel those hands back out, and then we're going to cartwheel those hands either side of the left foot, coming onto the fingertips, coming onto the hands, and then we're going to step that left foot back to meet right. Inhale, right foot up. Looking between the hands, we're going to step that right foot into lunge, drop the left heel down so we can come into our warrior on the other side. Engage the core and gently come back into our warrior. So again, outer blade of that left foot parallel to the end of the mat. Bending into the right knee, knees over the middle toe on the right foot. Right heel is bisecting the arch of the left foot. Bend a little bit deeper, again, only if it feels good. Feel the tummy muscles engaged, so we're not dumping into that lower back, nice and strong. Extending arms out in line with the shoulders, palms down, relax the shoulders. We're going to inhale, lengthen through the front leg, bring the arms together overhead, gaze goes up, palms together. Exhale, bend into the right knee, warrior 2 lunge. Inhale, lengthen and rise, maybe follow that right hand with the gaze. Exhale, lunge. Continue with your own breath, really slow control. The slower we go, the more we are engaging those muscles and the safer it is. So we're less likely to overstretch, we're less likely to overdo it if we're feeling unstable. I sound like a total control freak this morning, I'm just thinking. But it really is the best way to work into those muscles and those joints. If we feel in control, and then when we bring that into our everyday movements, we feel stronger, we feel safer, we feel more relaxed. Or we should. Last one, wherever we're at, we're going to meet in a warrior. We're going to rest that left hand on the back leg. Inhale, right arm up, flip the palm, and then exhale, reach that right arm back overhead as we continue to bend into the right knee. Either take the gaze over the left shoulder, maybe up toward the fingertips if you feel like challenging it for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale back to center. Exhale, cartwheel, both hands down either side of the right foot, coming onto the ball of the left foot. And then stepping that right foot back to meet left. We're just going to gently walk it out, inner downward dog, nice and easy. Just wringing out the hips, maybe rocking the hips a little bit side to side, maybe looking out under the opposite armpits. We're actually going to finish with a little balance this morning. So when you're ready, looking forward, we're just going to gently walk our way to the front of the mat, nice and slowly. Tuck the chin in and slowly rise up to stand. Great, we're going to finish with our tree pose. So again, when we're talking about mobility, sounds like a funny one, but you're hardly moving. But the tree pose allows us to engage with all our joints, okay, and all the muscles around the joints. So it's one of our magic poses. So we're going to come to the ground to stand. Again, if you feel a wee bit unstable, just make sure you have a wall or a chair or a table within reach, just in case you need to tap off it. So we shouldn't be, if we have to fall, it won't be for too far. If you have a very thick mat, come off the mat just so that you have a little bit more connection to the ground. So feet are about hip width distance apart, hands are on the hips. We're going to rotate that right hip open and we're just going to rest that heel just above the left ankle. So I want you to feel that right glute engage here. Feel the space across the front of the pelvis, and that might be as far as we go. So this morning we're going to make it a nice active tree pose, so we're not going to use our hands to get that foot up. So if your foot naturally comes to rest on your calf, you can rest it there. If your foot naturally rests right up near the sit bones, you can rest it there. Mine is just slightly above the knee. I don't want to press into the knee, so I'm going to press my heel into the leg here. So I'm lifting the ball of the foot off the knee. And again, if you notice you've kind of collapsed into that left hip, draw back in line. So we want that nice evenness with the hips. And then we can bring the hands to heart. Okay, so it's a more of an active as opposed to passively getting ourselves into the pose. A little bit stronger. Again, we're engaging that right glute to keep that hip nice and open. So it is about opening into the hips here. Try to tuck that belly button in, feel the core engage, relax the shoulders. If that feels good, we're going to inhale the arms out, reaching up, palms together. And then exhale, open our arms out into our full tree pose. Maybe press the index finger and thumb together, creating a little energy mudra. Find a point of focus out in front, something that's not moving to fix our gaze on. So our drishti point. So it could be where the wall meets the ceiling, where the floor meets the wall, or just some random object. And just calm our mind, focus on that fixed point. Again, if you want to challenge it, you can always sway your branches. You can always close down your eyes. Loads of options to make it a wee bit more challenging. But again, really focusing on that core control and that stillness in the pose. And then gently, we're going to inhale the hands back to heart. Slowly bring that right knee out in front, pause, and then release and let it go. Brilliant. Shake that left leg out. Well done. And we're going to do the same little pose on the other side. So again, feet nicely grounded, hands to hips. We're going to rotate that left hip out. Rest the heel just above the ankle. And again, even at this stage, notice if you've started to slump into that hip. So tuck it back in. Those hip bones want to be really even here. And again, using your muscles, we can either keep the foot where it's at, we can bring the foot to rest in the calf, press the foot into the calf, calf into the foot, or we might bring that foot a little bit higher up the leg. But again, if it's around the knee, just make sure you're not pressing into the knee itself. So I'm pressing the heel into my inner thigh here. If you can get higher, brilliant. And again, we're just opening into the hip here. So I want you to have that knee facing out to the left as opposed to forward if you can. Hands to heart. And relax. Again, find that point of focus. Really excellent one for those lower leg and ankle stabilizers. Really strong leg control here. So again, if you're feeling a wee bit unstable in the feet in your day-to-day, this is a really good way of bringing a wee bit of strength into it. And you'll really notice little imbalances in your tree pose here, whether it's a lot harder on one side than the other. Again, we're going to inhale, arms out, reaching up, palms together. And then exhale, open those arms out into our full tree.
Pressing index finger and thumb together, draw the chest forward, draw the shoulders back. Again, really engaging with those core muscles. If you want to challenge it, you might sway your branches. You might close down your eyes, take that point of focus out. You might even come up onto the ball of your foot if you're feeling really brave this morning. Last couple of breaths here. Just enjoy that stillness, enjoy that focus. And then slowly bring hands back to heart. We're going to bring that left knee back out in front, pause. And then exhale, release and let it go. Lovely, shake it all out, well done. So that's kind of us for this morning. We don't really have time for much more. So we're going to come down onto our knees, nice and gently. And come to any comfortable seat for you. So anywhere at all that feels good. Maybe sit up onto the couch even if you want. And we'll finish like we started. We're going to open the palms to the ceiling. Sit nice and tall, nice and strong into the spine. And then we'll inhale, arms out, reaching up. Interlock fingers, press palms to the ceiling. As we exhale, press the palms forward, release the breath, side out through the lips and let it go. We'll do that twice more. Nice releasing exhale here. Just let any tension melt out of the body as you sigh it out. Let it go. Last one. And then gently bring the hands to heart, press